I'm buying this house behind me for 10 grand, and I plan on cash flowing $550 a month for the next 30 years. So go here.
Yeah, I just noticed the unit was like.
That doesn't match the inside, right? Because the inside is not newer. The inside's newer, the outside's older. Last time I was here was about a month ago. And I came in and out in 5 minutes and it was full of junk. We closed yesterday on this one because I guess the mom was old. She was living with the daughter. I don't know, they want to put her in a nursing home. So now the daughter just don't want the house. Like, hey, you can take over the payments. I don't want it. You can have it. Do what you want with it. So I gave her 10 grand. I was like, all right, I'll take over your payments and I'll give you 10 grand. Now that we're here, what am I going to do with it? There's not enough money for a flip. Meaning there's not that much equity to do what I got to do. But there's still a decent amount of equity. So what I'm going to do is get with this contractor and say, hey, my budget's 5 grand. I'll get what I get. Which the goal is to clean out the trash, maybe a fresh paint job and new carpet. And that's about it. The reason I'm only doing a little rehab is because if I bought it for 10 grand and I give the contractor 5 grand, I'm all in 15 grand. I'm going to sell it owner finance for 20 grand down. So now that I spend 15, this family's going to give me 20. So I get my money back and I make 5 grand. My payment on this lady's house, which is not my house, is $1,550. The family that's going to come in, they're going to pay me almost 2 grand a month. So with that being said, I made 5 grand up front. I'm going to make about $5 a month for the next 20, 30 years or whenever that family refinances. The difference between my loan and the loan I'm going to give to this family has about 50 grand equity. So 5 grand up front, $500 cash flow, 50 grand equity. Making money 3 times on one house that had little to no equity.
Is this actually attainable by like a regular person, or is it like, nah, you need some skin in the game to be able to do this?
I don't know about skin in the game. Money's money. Everybody has money. If you don't have money, you can find money. The materials are materials. The hard part is knowing and understanding how to do it. That's the hard part for everybody. So if you watch the content, you understand. All I did was just take over this lady's payment. Now, we closed yesterday. That's my first time meeting her yesterday. I got this deal because a realtor went on Facebook and says, hey, who buys houses taking over payments? And people started tagging me, and that's how I got this deal. So first thing when they said, hey, we want to take over this payments, I said, let me see the mortgage statement. So the mortgage statement is real important to me because it has the balance, the interest rate, the payments. Because if I'm gonna take over somebody's loan, I need the statement to see what I'm gonna take over. Now when I look at the numbers, I was all right, there's not that much equity for a flip, but I still have to make a deal out of it. So then I can either take over the payments and keep it as a rental, or I can take over the payments and sell it owner to owner. I'm gonna go that route because if I'm all in 15 grand, I want my money back, which is the 20 grand. So it's not hard to do it. You just gotta know how to do it. And once you know how to do it, and then it's really easy. You don't need a license. You don't need to do anything. All you gotta do is just understand the paperwork, understand the knowledge and what we're trying to do here. So we did an agreement. Once we signed the agreement, it's called a sub-2 agreement, which you can just find it on Tipton's website. Go to Tipton's website, you go to forms, and there it is right there. You fill out the agreement, you take it, signed by both you and the seller. Just give it to Allison Tipton, and then she'll start the paperwork. You don't need to be experienced investor. You don't need to be a repeat client. All it is, hey, Allison, you're the lawyer. This is what we want to do. She'll start drafting up the paperwork. You come into the office. She'll tell you how to close it. She'll tell you how to pay it. You sign it. The seller signs the deed. You got to remember, the deed makes it owner, not the loan. Even though the loan's still in her name, when she gave me the deed, that was my house. If I don't pay her loan, they'll foreclose on me. And the one thing when you're taking over payments, everyone's gonna talk about the due on sale. That's not what you look out for. In 12 years, it's only happened twice. That's not a big deal. People mess up by not understanding the numbers and understand what they're gonna do with it. They get so hyped up, like, oh man, this lady's gonna let me take over her payments. And then when they got the house, like, oh man, I messed up. There's 10 grand rehab, and this and that, or the interest is too high, or I didn't realize there was a balloon, or I didn't realize there was adjustable rate, or I didn't run the numbers and say, hey, after the rehab, I'm gonna be all in, and the rental's only upside down. So the numbers is way more important than the deal. The deal with Allison, she'll make sure you get a good deal. The whole due on sale, hey man, the bank this, the bank don't allow that. The bank just wants their money. You just gotta make sure it makes money for you to make money. Because we're not flipping it, we don't need to do the full house like everything else. We're doing the new floors, the new paint, cabinets, all that. This one, I just need it just good enough where I'm gonna find a family who their dream is to buy a home, right? They're in a position where like, hey, if this guy, me, the investor, is willing to sell a house to them on payment, and they made it for them. And that's what we're looking for. I don't need to add a backsplash. I don't need to put new appliances, but I do want to give a good product. When we're flipping a house, the market's tough, right? Interest rates are 6.5%, 7.5%. So when you put a product out there, you really got to be above and beyond. You can't just have the basics. On all the houses that we're doing, we're putting the quartz countertop, the nice backsplash, the GC's here. He's doing everything to the T's, and we're even staging the home, right? We didn't used to do that before, but in this day and age, I think we have to. So when the family walks in and they have a tough choice to pick because they're putting hard-earned money and buying this house, we have to be really competitive to all the other houses. Versus back then, a nice product would have gone off the shelves. Now this one's a little different. I'm not looking for that competitive buyer who's qualified with Wells Fargo for 300 grand and really wants a good deal. That's a whole different demographic. The demographic I'm looking for is a family who can't qualify traditionally for whatever crazy reason. For now, those guys, they just want a home. So they're not spoiled like the rest of us. Their American dream, or whatever the case is, hey, if I can own a home and there's a guy who's willing out there to make payments to me, they are glad enough just to buy a nice house. Now, a nice house, we don't need the backsplash. We don't need the all new flooring. They just need a good product because I do want their kids to be here and have a good, safe product. And that's it. They're happy with a home that's good enough that they'll do the final touches and they can do what they want on their end. If you like content like this where I break down real deals and show you how to do it the real way, hit that like and subscribe button.